Hello and welcome back into Movement Parallels Life in this 20-minute practice. I've got a great session in store for us today. It's a combination of natural mobility and stretching. We'll be going through a series of mobility drills that combine strength and stretching to help you loosen up your body and increase your active range of motion. Begin in a tall kneeling position, and we'll kick things off with some ballistic stretching for the upper body. Breathe deeply, brace your core, but keep your arms relaxed as you swing, circle, and trace figure eights. Use momentum here to keep a fluid movement to open up your body through a dynamic stretch. Now you might stabilize your body and transition into some alternating reach backs. From tall kneeling, transition to a knee-hand position and we'll work through some joint articulations. Begin by gently moving through your spine, alternating between flexion and extension. Roll your head through a full range of motion, and then begin moving through your shoulders, drawing the shoulder blades together and then pressing through the ground with your locked out arms, spreading your shoulder blades across your back. Listen to your body as you explore these movements at your head and neck, shoulders and spine. Next, stabilize your spine and begin taking one hip through a full range of motion circle. Work 5 or 6 circles each direction and then switch sides. Switch over to your other hip and continue on with your circles. Take the next 30 seconds to finish up with your knee-hand joint articulations, focusing on any of the variations that you need the most. Next, we're going to move on to half tripod get-ups. This movement is going to bring us from lying on our back to a half kneeling position. So this is generally a pretty basic movement, but we're going to put it under the microscope, break it down, and really explore it step by step and see how much mobility we can squeeze out of it. Begin on your back with one arm extended to the sky and the same side leg bent and posted on the ground. Your opposite side arm and leg are fully extended. Initiate the movement by rolling laterally and pulling up to your forearm. Resist the temptation to flex your spine and sit up. From your elbow post, press up to a locked out arm. Keep your chest open and continue reaching for the sky, maintaining that vertical alignment. Take time to explore this movement. Pause at the elbow post and the straight arm post and move your free arm through a full range of motion. Work from supine lying all the way up to your half kneel and back down. Switch sides and continue on with your half tripod get-ups. As I mentioned, we'll be going through loaded get-ups as a part of today's strength work. So right now, we're practicing the movement pattern in addition to creating mobility. Begin visualizing that you're supporting a heavy weight above you as you transition through the movement. Continue working through this movement pattern for the next 45 seconds. Make your way into a side bend sit. Set up the position with strength and stability and take 30 seconds to explore the angles to find the stretch that feels best for you. Switch sides, set up the position with strength, and find your stretches. Move right into side bend sit hip swivels. Keep your feet in contact with the ground. Take your knees from side to side, focusing in on hip internal and external rotation. We'll spend 30 seconds here. Be intentional with the movement, but still keep it fluid and relaxed. Keep those side bend sit hip swivels in the mix as we begin expanding the movement. Transition from side bent sit up to split kneel. Keep your spine long and core braced as you press your lower legs into the ground, drive your hips forward to rise up to a split kneeling position. From your split kneel, you can either sit back down to the ground into your side bend sits or bring your knees together to come to a traditional kneeling position. There's no right or wrong here, only mindful exploration as you continue to craft smooth and efficient movement. Keep working through these movements for about 30 more seconds. You might even expand into a full side bend sit get up. Next, we'll transition into half kneeling step outs. Begin in a comfortable kneeling position with your shoulders back and your spine long. Drive your hips forward and step out into a half kneeling position. Maintain your core connection as you add variation to this pattern. Step out at different angles, shift your body weight, reach, rotate, and stretch. Take the time to really sense the strength, stability, and rootedness of your points of support. Continue on for the next minute, focusing on the different angles and expressions of this movement pattern. Focus in on the variations that feel best for your body. Take a few seconds to finish up and reset. We're going to be moving on to arm spirals. This pattern is great for developing mobility at your shoulder, elbow, and wrist from so many different angles. However, this can be a confusing one to learn initially. Let's break it down and build it up. Start from a half kneeling position. Whichever leg is up will work with the opposite side arm. Now I want you to imagine that you're balancing a small plate in the palm of your hand, and you're going to maintain this balance as you rotate the plate around your body. Sneak the plate underneath your armpit, rotate it overhead and around your body to complete the spiral. Continue with this arm for the next 20 seconds, change direction, and work through different phases of the movement as you wish. Switch your half kneeling stance and now work your arm spirals on the other side. Start with your hand in front of you, open out to the side and swing your hand around overhead and back. With each repetition, begin taking your hand a little bit farther through the movement. Take your time and be patient with your body as you learn this movement pattern. Soon enough, the dots will connect and the spiraling action will smooth out. Continue on for 30 more seconds, changing direction and adding variation on your own. Let's get a little bit more practice in to lock this pattern down. Switch sides and keep working your spiral for 30 more seconds. And one more time, switch sides and take 30 seconds to smooth out your spiral. We're done with our spirals. Now plant your hands on the ground and come into a crawl position. We'll work some different variations of crawl lunging. Step 1 foot forward next to your hands. Maintain deep breathing and an elongated spine. Add weight shifting, pulsing, and circular movements to mobilize the front hip. Keep your spine long and your back leg long as you press firmly into the ground through the ball of your foot. Add variation by sinking back or elevating your hips, adding reaching to your lunges, or changing the tempo of your leg switches. On your own, continue these crawling lunges for the next minute. Hold your next lunge and rise up to standing. We'll move into extended split squats. Maintain this long stance and stay well rooted through the front foot and the ball of the back foot. Keep your chest upright as you shift your weight forward and down, pulling yourself into the split squat and then pressing back up to standing. Continue repping out your squats on this side for 30 more seconds. Switch sides and continue working your split squats for 1 minute. Rotate your body to come into a wide stance squat, and we'll work lateral shifting for the next 30 seconds. Now for the last 7 or 8 minutes of today's practice, we'll begin to downshift. We'll explore a few more patterns, but start to slow down, linger in the positions, and find a relaxing stretch. Start off with a side bend sit stretch. Begin exploring the position for your best stretch. Keep your shoulders back as you hinge forward or rotate and reach. Switch sides and then continue on with your side bend sit stretch. Next, transition to an inverted position, and we'll look for mobility and stretches through bridge rotations. Work on crossbody reaches, overhead reaches, bridge reaches, and linking them together. You can begin by reaching across your body and then swinging your arm around into a bridge reach. Continue working through these different reaching patterns for 45 more seconds, and then we'll switch sides. Stay in your inverted crawl, but switch to reaching with the opposite arm. Now lower your hips to the ground and transition into a long sit stretch. You can work your long sit in either an open straddle or with your legs straight out in front of you. In either case, sit up tall, keep your spine long and your pelvis tilting forward. If you feel a lot of tension in the backs of your legs, you can bolster your hips. Otherwise, hinge forward from your hips to intensify the stretch. Lean forward at different angles, reach or rotate, or bend from side to side. And we'll finish today's practice with a prone spinal extension. Lower down to a prone lying position. Use the strength of the back line of your body to lift into a spinal extension. Keep your chest open and shoulders externally rotated. Coordinate your breathing as you lift and lower through the spinal extension. All right, that is going to bring us to the end of today's mindful movement practice. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. I know that life gets busy, and when it comes to fitness, it's so much easier to gravitate towards the high intensity sessions, but this is truly movement goodness for your body. So shout out to you for taking time out for mindful movement and mobility. For a deeper dive into this type of movement practice, check out my Free Mover Mobility Project series with over 30 episodes. It's available on my Playbook channel. The link is down below in the description. So that's it for me today. I'm out of here, but you keep on moving, stay mindful, and I'll see you in the next video.